The third one is words. Words. Greg Hattie and myself, we just finished a book called, what is it called? Critical Neurophilosophy, which is a word that I coined, and Indigenous Wisdom. And I got a bunch of my students in neuropsychology to do state-of-the-art research on neuroscience, showing what the conclusions were about some of the great virtues like honesty and courage and generosity, which are being researched by neuroscientists. Now here was my goal. My goal was, I don't know, as educators, everybody is big into neuroscience. In fact, there was a study done at Stanford that took an article that was complete nonsense and had an illustration of a brain with all these little active things coming into it. 90% of the people believed it, but when the brain was taken away, only 2% believed it, right? So we're enamored with brain-friendly learning. And yet the best MRI machine can only snap a little picture of an instant of what happens with the brain, right? But I wanted to promote Indigenous wisdom, so I thought if I can promote Indigenous wisdom by showing how brain science supports it, then I will have helped bring holistic education. That honestly was my goal. And I called Greg and I said, Greg, I've got these doctoral students doing the research. You and I can then come in with stories about American Indian wisdom that says, yeah, that's true, and we've known it way before you invented the MRI machine. But guess what? It's just the opposite of what I thought. In almost every case, neuroscience is making interpretations about human nature that stand in contrast. Deception is being studied big time because there's big money in making lie detectors and in determining consumers, whether they're choosing the right product, right? The conclusions are it's an evolutionary advantage to be deceptive. Bullshit. Come on. We're all, go back far enough. Chris, you go get the kangaroo, I'll go get the berries. I'm going to trust him to do that, right? So yeah, today, I think we've de-evolved because deception is everywhere. Generosity. You read the studies about generosity. There's no such thing. It's all from the selfish gene. It's always really just to get something in return. On and on and on. So we countered this in our book. Well, words are what keeps us going. So FAW, words. For Indigenous people, words are sacred. Now in the English language, it's very difficult because it's such a categorizing, noun-oriented language. So you gotta talk and talk and talk and talk to try to get close. We don't have 40 different words for a tree. If somebody in Lakota points to a tree and says what it is, I can't answer it unless I know, is it snowing? Is there a bird in the tree? Is the wind blowing? Okay? So you've got to work at the language, and that includes self-talk. So if you've got somebody that thinks, that's not healthy in terms of fat, and they look in the mirror and they go, oh, I'm a fat person, is that accurate in terms of language? They're not a fat person. If you're looking at the words as powerful tools, they are a person that has extra fat. My wife is crazy because she'll say things all the time, and I'll say, you didn't mean that you want me to wash the car. What you really meant was, but if you get in the habit of doing this, you will essentially hypnotize yourself into health, away from this debilitation of the hypnosis that we're always saying that is deceptive. Again, I'm just brushing this. The last one, we already know. Nature is our teacher.